Boys and girls, today we're going to take a deep dive into the sound of OPETH, into the production and the mix of their latest album, The Last Will and Testament. And yes, we're going to do that with the real thing, with the original Multitracks. Have a listen. And we're going to do that with no other than their recording and mixing engineer, Stefan Boman. I went all the way to Stockholm, to the legendary Atlantis Studios, where even ABBA recorded Dancing Queen, to meet Stefan so he can show you how he mixed the album there. Today, I want to take a deep dive both into the rhythm guitar tone of OPETH, but also into the drums and the drum processing. What you are about to watch is a small part of a bigger, more than 2-hour-long mixing course called the OPETH Mixing Ritual inside Kohle Audio Kult. The course also includes the original Multitrack, so you can mix the song yourself, upload your version, get a review from me, win some awesome plugins from Softube. But you know what? Now it's time to pass it on to Stockholm, to Stefan, and I'll be back with some more creepy sales talk later. Now it's time to have a look at OPETH guitar and drum tones. Enjoy!
For being a rock or metal album, there's quite few guitars. We have like 2 rhythm guitars. 3 lead guitars, a backwards FX guitar that's pretty short, and then guitar solo. That's it. Because I've made 2 albums with OPETH, and we've tried to like overdub, but sometimes overdubbing rhythm guitars could make it more blurry.
You mean like quad tracking them?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it works, but sometimes you could also be fooled thinking it's going to be bigger, but sometimes it actually ends up sounding smaller. And also kind of nice being able to hear like pretty much everything that's going on.
Yeah.
If there's a slight timing difference between the 2 guitar players, Mike and Frederick, you could really pick up those like tiny differences. I'm actually quite a big fan of just doing like 2 rhythm guitars. And recording these guitars, we actually used different heads. Mike using Marshall Plexi, a vintage one, and Frederick probably using a Friedman head. We brought, I don't know, like 3 or 4 cabs, but we ended up borrowing the one from Rockfield. It's like a 70s Marshall, I don't know.
Greenbacks probably.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it was a greenback. So recorded 3 microphones, a 57, of course, a Coles 4038, because I really like the ribbon, and a Bayer Dynamic M69. So we just used those 3 microphones, summed them all, and I think there's a touch of 1176 on those.
Do you remember the blend of the mics? Is it mainly the 57 and the other 2 just blended in a little bit, or?
I mean, the 57 is most likely quite a big part of that sound. So I would say the ribbon and the 69 is probably more like complementary. Yeah.
So that means you summed them on the fly, on the console?
Yes.
Found the right balance?
Yeah.
Send it into a compressor and recorded it?
I think I had to do some EQ work on the guitars in the mix, because as I recalled, something was missing slightly. So this is with and without all the plugins. It's adding some like mid-range to it, but also it's adding quite a bit of like low end, because that's sort of what I was missing.
It took out some wah as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's probably, exactly, removing some like harsh frequencies.
And which guitar was that? Like, was that Mikael or?
Yeah, that's Mike. I think he played Telecaster with one humbucker, one single coil. So this is Fredrik's guitar with and without effect. And it's actually the same cab but different heads. Forgot to mention on the rhythm guitars, we also use this box called the Brown box.
What's that?
That way you could adjust what type of voltage you get to the heads.
Uh-huh.
Let's say if you have a European version, they were built to operate at 220 volts. But today in the outlet, I'm not sure in Germany, but in Sweden, it's probably like 235, 236. So there is quite a bit more voltage going through the amp, which affects how it sounds.
And that makes a huge difference, or?
You could clearly hear it. So it's quite interesting to play around with it.
But you pulled it down a little bit to sound more vintage.
Yeah, I mean, as I recall, I think we probably took it down to like 220. So both of these guitars together. And with the drums and bass. So, I mean, in a way, I was sort of doing like a classic sounding 60s, 70s record. We'll just hear just the drums in solo. I'm not a big fan of recording several microphones on the same source because there's always like phase issues, no matter how careful you are. Obviously 2 on the snares, a top and a bottom. On this kit we had 2 hi-hats just because they were in different positions and slightly different sounds. And then 6 toms, a ride mic, which is also edited to just be on when it's actually playing the ride mic. The same with the second hi-hat. The first one I actually left on throughout because there you have a bit more snare leakage and I didn't want that to like come and go. For me, that's sort of part of the snare sound. And then the overheads and a room mic, which we actually didn't use at all. I mean, I recorded possibly even 6 room mics, but then we ended up like, no, it just sounds better without it because we liked it when it was as dry as possible. We decided early on that this record would have like what we call the dry default. So very few things would have reverb on them. On this song, there is no reverb at all.
Okay, this
on
is
drums.
officially the first time ever that I see a mix without any drum reverb and any drum compression. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a quite unusual approach. And then we also bounced all the drums to tape and back. It's better to record in Pro Tools and then bounce it to tape. And I'll actually show you before and after tape. So here's the drums going through tape. And here's the one that went straight to Pro Tools, no tape. I mean, it's not perfectly volume matched, but to me, the transients are so much nicer after tape, and also mixing it just sits so much better. When we recorded the drums, I usually set up 2 kick mics. So in this case, I used a U47 FET and an AKG D25. And during the mix, I decided that the D25 just sounded better. I mean, they both sounded fine, but I really preferred the D25. For recording, we used a Callrec preamp and then a touch of DBX 160 for both kick and top snare. So the kick drum sounds like this, processed. So in this case, on the kick drum, I have just the gate, that's just to remove the tape hiss. And then I'm taking out some on the really like low end, like below 50 or something. But then I'm also like adding a bit of like 48 hertz. So they're kind of overlapping, and then you get that, just like the pull take bump, taking away a bit of like 800 hertz, adding some click also just for it to punch through a bit more, like 4.5K, and then a bit of top end, almost 11K. Just a bit more like impact to it. Mike, the singer, he really didn't want it to sound like pushed or like saturated. So he wanted it really like natural sounding. On the snare drum, we actually had a Bayer dynamic called M69. Mm-hmm. And as I recall, I think we had the same both top and bottom. So there I have a few plugins. Probably just wanted the snare to cut through a bit more, but I'll play it like with and without all the plugins. So here's with. And without all the plugins. I mean, they're all helping just to cut through the mix. The gate is just the same, like removing some tape noise, taking out pretty much the most of the things below 100. On the second EQ, I'm adding a bit of like 85 hertz, taking out a bit of like 830, adding a bit of 4K. Then I'm using Q3. Yeah, so that's a dynamic EQ that adds a bit of like 107 hertz. Really like a bit of low end in the snare, because otherwise it'll be like tee, tee, tee. I used the Bloom plugin. I thought it was quite effective doing the stuff that I wanted. Guess it is like a dynamic EQ in a way. Yes, I mean, for me, that makes the snare just sound wider, both in the low end, and it really lifts quite a lot in the high end. And then I have, it's from Kohle Audio, it's called Omega, and this is the Model N that's supposed to mimic the Neve consoles. And even though this is pretty subtle, in a mix, it could really make a big difference. This is with and without. So like I say, it is really subtle, but it adds something.
I'm very sorry, I gotta interrupt you here. If you want to take a deeper dive into the OPETH mix, you can, because we have this lovely course called the OPETH Mixing Ritual, more than 2 hours long, where Stefan walks you through every detail of his original mix. And to make this even more amazing, it includes the original multitracks, so you can analyze them and mix the song yourself. You can upload your version inside my academy, Kohle Audio Kult, and get a personal personal mix feedback from me. And Stefan will pick the 2 best mixes, and they will win some amazing plugin packs from Softube. I love Softube plugins, you know that. I'm using a lot of them, but Stefan happens to be using them almost exclusively. You've just seen it. By the way, there's one Softube plugin called the Atlantis Dual Chambers, if I'm not mistaken. And these are the original reverb chambers from Atlantis Studios. Really, really cool sounding reverb. Check it out. I put a link below to Softube. They make some of the best plugins out there, and I think they're a little bit underrated or not on people's radar enough. Check out Softube. But back to the course. If you want to mix OPETH, you can. If you want to watch more of Stefan explaining how he mixed the song, you can. That's going to be a lot of fun. There are 2 ways how to get the course. Either you just buy the course or you become a member of Kohle Audio Kult, which includes all our courses. A huge pack. Then you can mix Carcass and Paradise Lost and Bloodbath and Motorhead and many more bands, and you can record drums with Nolly and learn how to master and learn how to record guitar. There's so much in there. Check it out. There's a link below to the course. I see you there. I see you inside the cult. I see you in hell. Motherfuckers. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.